The Evergreen Media Network Studio, powered by Scott Tree Services.
This is Martha Matters. From real estate, healthcare, current events, taxes, or just about any topic, we're talking about it. Call us with any questions on just about any subject. Now, here she is, Martha! Well, hi there, and welcome. Hey, we have another interesting week, and I'm bringing up to you the topic of abortions. We're, as you all know, and are probably already getting tired of it, including me, is all this talk on all parties. It doesn't matter whether it's independent, Republican, Democrat. I'm getting very, very tired of the issues presented at election time. Well, one issue I want to eliminate from a lot of time that I think is wasted. You should spend your time looking at the platforms, but not abortion. Number one, abortion is here to stay. It's in all 50 states. And it's just like, historically, 150 years ago, they tried to have prohibition with no alcohol. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work. When you've had something and people know they can control it and have a way of life, you're not going to eliminate it. And sure enough, we didn't. So that was an exercise that I call that's a total waste. Now, I'm going to say the same thing about abortion. It's here permanently, but there are differences, and I'm going to go into the differences. First of all, it's allowed in every state, but there are a couple of states, and maybe more. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to get answers on all of them yet. But some of them have, like, abortion only up to 6.5 weeks or 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I know from my own experience, if you miss a monthly menstrual cycle, it may not mean that you're pregnant. It may come 6 weeks, 7 weeks later, but certainly by after 2 menstrual cycles, if you miss them, that's 8 weeks. Then you should really go ahead and test yourself that you're pregnant. Now, some people, I'm not sure. I think it's a difference from one person to another. But after 2 months and a week, you know you're pregnant if you lie down on your stomach very flat, you can hear a thump heartbeat in most cases. So I understand why most states have a 15-week limit. You're certainly going to know by then if you're pregnant or not pregnant, mm-hmm. with very, very few exceptions. So we already have states that have taken votes on this. Some states like Ohio say that you can have an abortion up to 23 weeks, but after birth, absolutely no killing or no abortion, or even if it's an aided birth, like C-section or something, once the kid is born, no killing it, no shortening the term at that. If it's alive with a C-section, it's alive forever. Things like that I can agree with, but anywhere, 20 weeks, 15 weeks, 12 weeks, different states come up with different amounts of time that you can have an abortion full steam. Now, there are all kinds of variances with that. In some states, you have parents from the age of 14 to 18 need parental consent. Some parental consent is from 12 years old to 15 years old, and after 15, in some states, the parents don't want to know about it. You have all different variances like that, and you also have cases where if kids sneak an abortion and want to stop it by using a coat hanger or something, and the parents don't know about it, the parents in some states are still held accountable for not communicating well with their daughter. So we have all kinds of issues like that that we're not going to get into, but they do vary from state to state. Now, if you're one of the states where after 6 weeks of pregnancy you cannot have an abortion, all I can say is go to the state next door, and no matter what the state is, and more than likely they will do it. Some, like New York, have no limits until the day of birth. And there are some states that even allow killing after birth, after the kid has a normal, natural birth, and they still don't want the child. Instead of giving it up for adoption or something, they actually kill it. I think most people are in full disagreement with that. And, but you have everything else in between. And you've really got to think things over. Now, there are some states with rape and incest you can have an abortion and not be limited to 6 weeks or 15 weeks, but after getting over the trauma of the rape or incest, they give you a few more weeks to decide to get rid of the kid, because the kid is probably not going to be growing up with a father. Most of those rape and incests are hit and run, so to speak, where the parent disappears. So you have different states that will not allow rape or incest to be an exception, and other states that will allow it. So you've got to know what you're talking about. I think Ohio, for one, just recently voted they will allow abortion up to 23 weeks. I don't know what's magic about the 23rd week, but they've done research among their people before they put it to a vote across the state, and that's what they came up with. You have everything in between, 20 weeks, 18 weeks, 15 weeks. You've got to know which state is which, but there is a state somewhere in the country that no matter how far along you are in pregnancy or not sure, I should say, or not wanting to tell your parents, you will find a state somewhere that will meet your needs on your current situation.
I want to chime in on that, Martha, because I don't want to say that I'm saying the wrong thing, but I remember a case, and I don't know if it's going to be a test case now or not, but it was in the Midwest, and it was with a 10-year-old girl. I want to say it was rape or incest, and the parents, wherever state they were in, would only allow it to 6 weeks. I think I'm saying this right, and it's been in the news and all of that. And the parents went to another state, and now, as far as I know, are being held on criminal charges.
Now the parents are held on criminal...
I want to say there's criminal charges in the works there with this particular situation because they did go to another state. I think I'm telling you the right thing, but you could get all of the information, online, of course. But it's so some of this stuff is just crazy. It really is just crazy. I don't understand some of it, and I don't. see how you can, because we know somebody that is 10-year-old that is incest or raped. I mean, first of all, I can't even imagine that. And second of all, your life is already ruined from that, like you just said. So how do you get over that trauma? And now you're forced to have a baby at 10 years old. So that's the case that they're kind of talking about now, or they have been talking about it.
That's real interesting.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. A 10-year-old raped, but who wears effective makeup and everything else and can look a bit older, that is really a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Very difficult. We all have our own opinions on that. Keep the baby, but because it's a life, and give it up for adoption at an orphanage, or if you know a family that would like to have it. And that sounds nice and is one of the solutions. But when you say the kid is ruined for life, you're absolutely right. If the baby is alive, even growing up with someone else, you wonder how the baby's doing. You're wondering what it looks like when it reaches 21 or something. It will always be on that mother's mind until she dies. Mm-hmm. So when I say ruined for life, that's exactly what I mean. She gets married, has let's say a happy family life, a fabulous husband, 1 or 2 kids. As much as she loves the 1 or 2 kids, she's going to always wonder how the other kid that was taken away from her or she gave up is doing. Mm-hmm. And it's a horrible thing to be wrestling with that your entire life. Mm-hmm. Even when you turn 50, 60, 70 and have grandkids, you'll wonder if that kid had kids too, and there are grandkids you don't know about. Or maybe there are no grandkids. That question will always be haunting that poor girl.
The other thing that we talked about before we went on air, too, I mean, you're talking about somebody that's 10 years old. So physically developed at 10 years old to be able to have a baby and deliver a baby is
questionable.
Well, questionable. And I mean, it's the pain and, just the development of all of that. I mean, maybe that person, if they did have a baby at 10 years old, could never have another one because of what would happen, the complications of having that first one at 10 years old, too, is what I think.
Yeah. If that 10-year-old, because even the uterus hasn't developed to the normal size, had to have an abortion. And the way the abortion had to be handled to save the poor kid, the poor infant.
You mean a C-section?
Yeah, the C-section.
Yeah.
That the way it had to be done, that may prevent her from even having more kids. We don't know, but it's a possibility, and a good possibility.
Yeah.
So it's really, really a shame that things like that happen, and they don't happen, thank God, very often. And probably the rapist figured he was safe. Surprise.
Yeah.
So it's very, very, very sad. But the reason I'm bringing this all up is you have everything under the sun right now, and depending on which state you're talking about. And Florida, from where we're broadcasting from, it's going to be on the November election ballot this year, whether they want to reduce it to 6
weeks?
6 weeks or 6.5 weeks, or keep it at 15 and a half, and I think there's another combination, and we're going to vote on it in November. So that will be very interesting. In other words, Florida, it hasn't decided yet, but historically, Florida has been in the 15-week bracket.
Right. I want to chime in on that too, Martha, because, in the day and age, back in, I don't want to say back in my time, but I mean, some of the stuff has changed certainly progressively more. So nowadays you have a morning after pill. Nowadays you have where you used to have to go to the doctor to get a pregnancy test and they waited, a couple of hours or whatever it was, and it was fully known. Now you can walk into a drugstore and buy a early EPT pregnancy test or whatever. So all of that stuff factors into it. And I don't hear people talking about that often when they talk about the 6-week limit now.
Yes.
So I wonder all that together.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up. I did get some interesting information. Ever since Roe versus Wade was rejected earlier last year, believe it or not, there have been more abortions than ever, right?
Wow.
2 reasons. Almost double the amount of abortions. I was really shocked to look at all these statistics. Number one, the states have stepped up to their obligations by making a design or proposal, which is why Ohio, way back last September, came out with the 23 weeks, up to 23 weeks of pregnancy, you could have an abortion, which is quite generous. But I find that real interesting that more abortions are being done. Now, they've kept statistics of all types. They've had, first of all, in many states or most states, you can get the morning after pill to be sure. Statistics on that, because technically you weren't pregnant, you just prevent the pregnancy from taking place.
Right.
So I'm not sure the morning after is part of the statistics, but the other statistics where you can still abort a definite pregnancy by taking pills that are now non-prescription, a different pill, not the morning after pill. And there's a big run on them. And also there's a big run on abortions, more abortions at abortion clinics in all 50 states than there were when Roe versus Wade was in effect. I just couldn't believe that. Well, I have some more information for you as soon as we come back, so stay with us. I want to introduce you to our main sponsor, Highland Plaza, located on US 1 on the east side of the Highland Drive traffic light. We even have our own left-hand turn lane. One of the places in there, the first one on the north side, is Easy Stop, and you will be surprised what competitive and beautiful prices they have. You should give it a shot. Also, Tony's Hairstyling Salon is ideal for the entire family at all ages. He and his wife have run a salon there for years with a huge following. Also, we want to tell you about La Taberna Restaurant. It has the freshest Mexican food in town and a well-experienced chef. You will be most surprised not only by the food, but the reasonable prices. Also, I want to tell you about the nail salon. It's Luxury Nails. Let me tell you, they do everything, both for walk-in clients and appointments. Appointments are really appreciated, but they treat all clients professionally. Now, I want to repeat to you, this is located on US 1, just east of Highland Drive at the traffic light. It's a beautiful yellow building with a maroon awning. We look forward to seeing you there. Come on over.
Get ready to experience the rhythm of a lifetime with On Your Feet, the electrifying Broadway musical celebrating the extraordinary journey of Emilio and Gloria Estefan. From humble beginnings in Cuba to global superstardom, their music transcended borders and inspired millions. Don't miss your chance to dance, laugh, and sing along with the music that defined a generation. On Your Feet, now playing at Vero's beautiful Riverside Theater. Get your best tickets now at the box office or riversidetheater.com.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs in all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens and Bollywood. We specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of name brand closeouts and sale items. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, having sunshine day. Sunshine.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
Back. We have a few things. There was one that I forgot to mention earlier. It's rare, but it does happen. Not in the case of rape or incest, but in consensual sex of younger people. There are many situations where immediately when the woman finds out that she's pregnant, she gets the abortion. But there are many cases where the male really wants the baby. Now, again, in some states, the male has to be consented and give consent before the abortion, and in some states, not. Most states, not. Now, I find that very interesting because in rape and incest, most of them are like what is it my husband used to call them? A Johnny Appleseed. They'll hit and run and go on to the next one. So you don't need the consent of someone like that. But in a caring relationship, and you know whether your relationship was caring or not, you need to consult the other person. The other person may look at things different. Mm-hmm. Can't we make it together? Let's go ahead. I really want the baby. Or in other cases, go ahead and get an abortion. We didn't mean for it to happen. All different kinds of circumstances. And in that case, when it was a really loving relationship where you date consistently and for quite a while, I really think the other person should be consulted, that personally. But in some states, the other person, the male, has to sign off on it, and in most states, that's not the case. So you have a lot to investigate if you're caught in such a situation. I realize it's not easy. I realize there are many ifs, ands, or buts. But abortion is always available for everyone somewhere. You may have to cross state lines if you don't remember anything else, but it is available. So please, let's not waste our time making it an election issue when, boy, do we have a lot of things to talk about elections. But I think abortion can already be on the side, and like I told you with the statistics, there are more abortions than ever. So on that note, have a great week, folks. We'll be with you soon.